Welcome, everybody, to the Lindemann Outdoors Podcast. This is your host, Jacob Buckshot Lindemann. Here every time, and with me every time is Jeremy Lindemann himself. We got a good one for you today. We're going to be talking bow hunting and how the season's progressing for us and how we're getting ready.
How come I don't have a nickname?
I don't know. We called you Ogre, but you have to get a nickname during the podcast.
That's true.
You can't have one from before.
I have to have a podcast nickname. You can't just use your old nickname from when you were 3 years old. That is lame. You got to earn the podcast nickname. I like that. That's good.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the past, I think that I grew up being taught how to bow hunt, and there's a lot of people that don't have dads who teach them how to bow hunt. And I know you didn't have that. So I think you should tell the listeners how you started bow hunting and how you got into it.
Well, one of the reasons I started bow hunting is because it was such a longer, I've always loved archery. So like even when I was a little kid, I had a bow that, I had just a recurve bow that was, a lot like a bow that people would shoot, and I had just a fiberglass recurve, and I would shoot arrows, and eventually I, made enough money to, I picked up, there was like a local barber shop that was also a gun shop, and then they had a used bow in there for like $35, and I'm kind of fast tracking here a little bit, but when I got to be about bow hunting age, I picked up this used compound. It was a Bear whitetail, which is one of the first compounds of when they switched, when they were invented, the recurves, in the 70s and early 80s, recurves were all there was. Compound bow was, I know it was invented before that. I don't know the exact date, but it was in the mid to late 80s is when they took off popularity. I'm 49 years old now, so I had to buy a bow that was 20 years old back then when I was a kid, just because it's the only thing I could afford. Had to mow a lot of lawns to get that bow. And one of the reasons I started bow hunting was because at that time, the gun season was only 2 days, or a 2-day season or a 4-day season, and and it was in Southwest Minnesota, and it was a shotgun type deal, and that's where I was living at the time. But if you bow hunted, you got 3 months to hunt. And then I could go by myself, and I didn't need, my parents were divorced when I was young, and my dad would take me hunting and stuff too, but I just, didn't get to see him as much as I would like to. So I kind of had to teach myself, how to bow hunt. And he didn't bow hunt. He mostly, shotgun hunted, and then my stepdad didn't hunt, so I kind of was self-taught there. Which was good, because I just spent a lot of time flinging arrows. I just would, be in the backyard. I used to shoot at garbage bags full of old clothes, and shot a lot of stumps and shot at a lot of rabbits and stuff out in, out in the woods, and just flung arrows. And then eventually, as I grew my passion for archery, and I started hunting, trying to bow hunt, and then, talking to people. I was just, any magazine I could read with bow hunting articles, any people I could find that bow hunted, I was, just, amazed at what they were doing, and then just, it just called to me at an early age. So, and I bow hunted quite a few years before I actually got a deer. I think I was 16 when I shot my first deer with a bow. I might have been 17 actually. I had several close calls, and then I finally connected on a little 8-point buck with my bow when I was 16, I believe, because I remember I could drive. And then it just kind of took off from there. I mean, to me, I could hunt so much longer with a bow. Uh, the shotgun season didn't really appeal to me. Um, once you shoot a deer with a bow, the guns just, they
Guns
just,
vacation.
yeah, guns is just not as, gun hunting is second to bow hunting
Yep.
once you've been successful. And, I just started bow hunting and I started having success and, I started shooting some bucks and, shot a lot of does. I can't even tell you how many deer I've shot now. It's a lot, a lot, a lot. And, just I love archery. I love working on bows. I love setting up arrows. I got lots of people that bring me their bow every fall, and I help them get tuned up. And you
Yep.
know, you've been around for some of that. Just think how many people we've had come over and
Oh yeah, I
in the
mean,
yard and
since
every fall.
I can remember, it was every fall. Someone from somewhere in town is coming over to shoot in our backyard and get their bow sighted in and
Yep,
get
tuning
ready.
bows
Yep,
and
getting ready for hunting season and
and
or
then I got you kids into shooting tournament archery
yeah,
too, and
which that's a good thing to get kids into.
well, it was. I mean, it was such a good family bonding experience too, because we traveled together
Yep.
and we got it got us out of town and we got to go places and see things and meet people and you
Yeah,
know
'cause the tournament's just the one day. I mean, you have to make the trip out of it, and it was a lot of fun.
yep, yep, we'd usually try to stay at a hotel that had a water park and go out to eat and just do something fun and
Yep.
and then shooting but for kids that don't have a parental figure to get them into bow hunting, you don't need that. I mean, a lot of schools now have the archery, national archery in schools program, which has gotten to be huge. I
Yep.
mean, there's that national shoot every year. There's 10,000 kids at that. And, and a lot of 4-H clubs, a lot of, like I said, school program, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. I mean, there's lots of ways to get into archery. And, if you're a parent or guardian and you have a kid that's interested in that, you can look up some of those local organizations. 4-H is big into shooting sports now. Look at the trap,
Oh yeah, traps
program.
exploded.
Yeah, so many high schools have trap teams now. Boys and girls, and they're them kids are going on and they're shooting in the Olympics and they're winning gold.
Well, that
It's
was
just
I mean, that just came I remember that when our school got it when I was in ninth grade. They just
yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't that long ago when
It's
they
been in
first
the
started.
yep the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's just great for kids because it teaches them discipline and it teaches them hard work and they're not out doing dumb things.
Yeah, they don't have the and they get into trap shooting. You don't have the money to go buy drugs because you
You're
got to buy a
broke.
new shotgun,
You got to buy a shotgun and shells and
clay targets, and
yeah, it's
yeah,
the exact same thing with hunting and fishing. They
yeah,
if you take your kids hunting, you don't have to go hunt for your kids. They say right where they are, and
yeah,
that was the same thing in me in high school. I didn't go out and party or drink, because I had to get up early to go bow hunting.
yeah.
You know, I mean, it's the truth.
Well,
I'd get home from football. I would sleep and, I was up at 5 in the morning heading out to the woods, trying to arrow a buck. And,
his
you
name,
know,
yeah,
that was just my life. And, I'm very grateful for it because it's, I could have, like a lot of kids, you could easily go the wrong way. And hunting and fishing's been a big part of, who I am and why my life has been good. So, but yeah, it's, and it's, so now it's bow hunting season
hmm.
again.
One quick thing
Um,
I looked up,
yep,
just so we know we're getting our facts straight.
that a boy.
The compound bow was first developed in 1966. However, the invention wasn't patented in the U.S. until 1969. And then in the late 70s, early 80s is when the sport took off.
Yep. So I was close.
You
I
were
was pretty
close.
great. And I remember everybody, the old timers all hunting with recurves, and they didn't want to adopt the compound. There was believe it or not. There was some resistance to it at first, but
Well, there's always resistance to change or new
yeah.
improvements and things.
But I've so I've been working on some. But like I said, it's bow season is for some states it's only a few weeks away because a lot of them start September 1st.
Some start August 30th.
Some start August 30th. Check your local game
Yeah.
laws for your starts of your seasons.
Yeah.
We do follow the game laws,
Yeah.
even though on our last video, someone tried to accuse us of keeping a
Well,
fish that was too big.
I don't know if you saw this, but he actually responded because I responded to him,
Oh,
respectfully, stating that
yeah,
we have 2 marks on our chart, one for U.S., one for Canada. And
yeah.
he said, "Oh, he actually thanked me for responding respectfully, and he said
Oh,
I
nice.
appreciate that you understood my concern.
Yep.
Keep on
That was
fishing." And I was
that
like,
was nice.
"Hell
That was
yeah!"
nice of you to respond respectfully because I would have probably told him, go
Well,
take a long walk off a short pier.
I saw the exact
So that
clip he
was
was
nice of you.
talking about, and I was like,
Yep.
"There are 2 lines there, and
Yep. It's right in the middle.
if we were in Minnesota, that fish would have been
Yep.
illegal
Yep.
to keep, but we were in
It'd have been
Canada.
over.
It would have been over, so we would have thrown it back. But we were in
Yep.
Canada, so you had
Yep.
to keep it.
Yep. And plus it was beat up too.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it had hauled the hook. It was bleeding a little bit. It
Dropped
flopped
it
out of my
5
hand.
times.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't want to do that.
No.
Thank God it wasn't too big of one, but, that does happen sometimes, but good reminder. And for us too, especially in the summertime, those fish are very frisky and they're just that warm water. They're
very
just
alive.
very, very alive. And, last weekend I caught a big 28 incher, and I had learned my lesson from how frisky that other fish was that I left it in the net and I got the hooks out and I took a quick picture and I got her back in the water and got her nice and revived and she took off and it was great. But anyway, my point to that is we try to follow the game laws as strictly as we can because we're all about fair chase. So, but yeah, bow hunting right around the corner. I've actually been shooting my bow a little. I'm building some new arrows. I picked it. You don't even know this because we haven't talked since then.
Oh my gosh, yeah, busy.
Well, we try not when that, and I don't want us to talk until we're on the podcast because I want this to be organic, and I don't want the magic to be ruined on another conversation when we can have it here.
Since the podcast, my dad hasn't called me until we record.
I've been neglected.
Don't talk to me. Don't wait for the podcast.
Wait for the podcast. Tell me this story later. We need the ratings. There's 7 people out there listening to us, and they love this, so we got to keep it going.
There's actually 27 people on YouTube.
27,
and then there's
oh my gosh,
there's 36 on downloads, and so I did the math. We average about 80 people. So we're growing. We'll get
steady by jerks.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Yeah.
What do you? Well, I think
I don't know if I can handle the pressure of all these people.
I know it's a lot of people.
Now I'm nervous. No, I'm not.
Well, what are you? Well, to the people.
So here's what I'm doing.
What are you shooting? What's your setup?
So you know me.
Yep.
I'm always trying to get the most out of my arrow bow setup that I can get out of it.
You have a different arrow every time I see you.
Well, I've been experimenting for years on the perfect weight arrow because I want maximum, trajectory, as in not a big trajectory, but flat shooting. So minimum trajectory, I should say. So then you don't have to have big pin gap, which then also helps you. It becomes forgiving because then if your bow is fast and your arrow is fast, if that deer is at 32 yards instead of 30, it won't matter because you're still going to get him with your 30 because your arrow doesn't drop that much. You aim for the center of the chest, like I've always taught you, center of the body, right behind the shoulder in the crease. Yep. If they drop, you get high lung,
If they don't, you get heart.
Yeah. Top of the heart, right where you aim. Yeah. But, so I want my arrows, I don't want a bunch of huge pin gap, so I don't want to have to be lobbing them in there. I want them to be fairly flat shooting and forgiving, but yet I also want an arrow that hits hard and penetrates, and I want an exit hole when I shoot an animal. I want my arrow to go clean through. I want it a good broadhead that flies and is pinpoint accurate. So to me, there's people out there that shoot these great big heavy grain arrows, and there's 600 and plus grains and big single bevel cut on contact broadheads, and yeah, that's great. 20 yards and in, you're killing everything on this planet. Okay,
Yep.
Everything is dead. But all of a sudden, you're out west mule deer hunting.
Oh my gosh.
And you need your more flat shooting of your arrow.
Yep.
So what so that setup wouldn't be so good. So there, you'd want a faster, lighter arrow.
Yep.
But yet, I'm trying to find that perfect combination of penetration and flat shooting, and I think I found it. I mean, I'm shooting a Easton 5mm Axis. I shoot a 50 grain half outsert on it now, and then I have a 100 grain broadhead on there. And I've been shooting a few broadheads. I'm going to try some new Exodus QAD Exodus broadheads because I'm going elk hunting. In Montana, I'm pretty sure you can't use mechanicals there, so you have to shoot fixed head. At least that was the rule.
I didn't.
When I was there years ago.
Well,
10 years ago or more, I was there and bow hunting, and haven't drawn any tags since then, but I did this year. So you have to have a cut on contact broadhead, a fixed blade, and plus with a big animal like that too. That's why I put those 50 grain half outs, it's an outsert, instead of the insert. They're stainless steel. So I'm building these arrows now. So they're going to be like 30 inches long. They weigh exactly 500 grains, so they're not light, but they're not so heavy that they, have a great big arc to them. They're fairly flat shooting. They hit hard. They rocket right through everything. I shot that turkey this spring with it, and turkey is one of the hardest things there is to shoot with a arrow because they can take an arrow like there's no tomorrow.
Especially get I mean, it's pretty rare to get complete pass through a turkey.
Yeah, I shot all the way through the turkey, and you did too because your arrows are. I made your arrows.
Yep.
You blow right through that turkey, they don't go anywhere. They just down dirt. And you can go watch the video of my turkey hunt. I shoot right through that turkey, and I barrel that arrow goes buried 6 inches in the ground on the other side of the turkey. It was just buried in the dirt. And the same thing with all the deer I shot last year. I had to go pull my arrows out of the dirt after it rocketed right through them.
Well, I've seen you shoot that one deer and pinned it to the ground. Because it was on that little slope, and you just pinned the deer to the ground. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird deal. It tried to duck, and then when it
ducked really deep, and
I hit it good, and it, yeah, I knew she was gonna drop. It was a big doe, and then when she did, and plus the arrow went in the ground, and it just dropped her right there. And look, from your vantage point, it looked like I shot and pinned her right to the ground, but
it was.
And that's. So yeah, that's what you want. So I've been playing. I think I got it dialed in. I like what I got. I want something that's gonna, that half out cert, like half outs we'll call them. They make a nice connection between your broadhead and your arrow, so you don't have to worry about your arrow shattering or splintering if you hit something hard. It'll help drive that broadhead through in case you catch a little shoulder or something. Because I don't want, if all of a sudden it's an animal, right? It's going to step, it's going to duck, it's going to do something. You try for that not to happen, but if it does happen, I want to make sure my arrow goes through where I want it to go through, and that, it's a quick, clean, quick kill for that animal, and it doesn't have to suffer. And, shooting a deer with a broadhead is the most humane thing you can do to them. As far as harvesting them goes, there might be people that disagree with that, but
so the people
that arrow is razor sharp.
I'll tell you a quick story. I was using a Muzzy MX3, one of the most, just straight, just basic broadheads, one of the most reliable ones out there. I don't think anyone will disagree with that. I shot this doe, perfect double lung. It didn't even know it got shot. It picked his head up, looked around, coughed once, spat out a ton of blood, tipped over, didn't even flinch.
Yeah, and I've had them where I've shot them. They didn't even know they were hit because the arrow's so sharp and it goes through them so fast.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they're just looking around, and then what happens then, biologically, is their blood pressure drops and then they pass out. So they literally go to sleep. They don't feel any pain.
Yep.
It's just a quick, clean kill, and it's by far the best death that deer can have, because the other death that awaits that deer is getting eaten by a coyote, bear,
Mountain
timberwolf,
lion,
hit by a car, mountain lion.
blue tongue.
Right, disease.
Yeah.
So what's in store for that deer? Starving of old age because it loses all its teeth. That is the best way that deer can actually die, is by a bow hunter putting a quick, clean, ethical shot on that deer that puts it down right away.
Speaking of
Science.
broadheads and science, Montana broadhead hunting regulations. Arrows must have a broadhead with at least 2 cutting edges. Expandable broadheads are legal as long as they have a 7/8 inches at the widest point and weigh no less than 70 grains.
Yeah, so what that means is you can have a hybrid,
Yep.
where it has the cut-on contact part of it, like, the Grim Reapers or the Blood Sports, but I wonder if a Rage would make that. I wouldn't shoot a Rage at an elk anyway. Sorry, Rage.
Well, if a Rage, I think that one Rage that has, like, the tip has that blade
Maybe
going
the
one
Tri-Pan.
direction. Yeah, the Tri-Pan.
Or Trocar, or I think it's a Tri-Pan.
Yeah.
We don't shoot Rage.
No.
I mean, there's people that do, and good for them, but
they suck.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, I've had some bad experiences with them, and I just, I don't want to trash them because they've come a long ways. They're new, like they're hypodermics, and some of those are awesome broadheads, and
the other thing is they're sharp.
They kill a ton of deer, so good for them. I don't shoot those. I shoot the Bloodsport hybrid broadheads. I like those because they basically have they're like half a muzzy and the other half is expandable. Well, how do you go wrong with that?
Yeah, I don't know.
We shoot the Grim Reapers. Grim Reapers kill. I mean, their slogan is "Watch them drop," and you literally watch them drop when you shoot them with a Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
Where, like I said, I'm going to shoot these Exodus broadheads for elk. I just feel they're a tough broadhead. Plus, I was just watching a YouTube broadhead test, and those were the winner.
There you go.
So anyway, I'm building these arrows, shooting all this, testing, shooting broadheads, shooting groups. Training for this elk hunt. I went and I rode my bike like 5 miles, and I tried to sprint back on the bike, and I ran right into the garage, grabbed my bow, went out there and shot 4 arrows while I was huffing and puffing and tired, because trying to simulate that. That's how I'll be. And just, I was very happy with where they hit. It was a good group. It was right where I had pin. It's pretty dialed in. So I'm excited for bow hunting. We gotta figure out exactly what we're gonna do. We got some options. I got a South Dakota archery tag. I got a Montana mule deer and elk tag, so I can shoot 2 bucks in those states plus an elk in Montana. And then, hopefully Minnesota. We are a 1 deer area here where we live.
Yep.
Up in zone 101. So it's hunter's choice this year, so we're only 1 deer here. You go 1.5 miles the other way to 268. That's a 2 deer area. So we could shoot a couple does over there and shoot a buck over here. You can only shoot 1 buck in the state of Minnesota, no matter where you are or what season it is. 1 buck per hunter per year.
Yep.
So, in a perfect world, then shoot a nice buck, shoot a couple does, put 3 deer in the freezer here, and a couple deer, a deer from Montana and a deer from South Dakota and an elk, and be good on meat for 1.5 years.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I'll be hunting Minnesota, South Dakota, maybe North Dakota.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm just trying to figure out if we got time for North Dakota. We may
it's
have to
hard.
we're gonna. I was gonna talk to you about this, but I didn't want to talk to you on the phone. I wanted to wait till the podcast.
Oh, okay.
But we got to decide if we're gonna have time to hunt North Dakota or if we just want to focus our efforts on South Dakota. But
We'll
we'll
figure
actually
that
talk
out.
about that in person another day. We got time yet. But anyway, yeah, just getting ready for bow hunting. I got to plant oats here on the farm next
Mm,
week because it's the time of year when you plant your oats. August 15th is about when they recommend doing that. So I got a couple bags of buck forage oats, and I got 4 food plots to work up and plant. Yeah, so that's the plan with that.
you know, people don't be busy like I am. Don't make plans. Plan to be in the woods, but I'm saving up my vacation days so that this fall we can hunt 24/7 for as long as I can. But no, I've been scouting. I've been doing more of the geographical type of getting ready for bow hunting.
The e scouting,
The e
the
scouting. Yep, I've been
getting
Google
on
Earth,
Onyx.
Onyx.
You a lot of the states have online hunting atlases with walk-in land. That's another great resource for people.
Yep.
So,
Well, we're gonna do pheasant hunting this fall too.
we have to because
We have a bird dog.
we have a bird dog.
Yep.
So
She'll
we're gonna
probably
shoot some
eat one of us
pheasants.
before if we don't.
Yeah, she needs to get out there. She's made to do that, so we gotta make sure she lives her best life and gets to do that.
Oh, that'll be fun now that we have a good bird
It
dog.
will. It will be fun. So yeah, we're gonna, a lot of bow hunting. We will rifle hunt if we have to. In a
Preferably,
perfect
I don't
world,
want to. I want to be tagged out.
I
I would
would
love to be
love
done
to.
by September 10th.
Yeah, it'd be nice to be done by the end of September and then just bird hunt the rest of the fall. Pheasant hunt,
That's the
duck
dream.
hunt. That would be nice. But I love bow hunting too, so it's just it's a tough life, but
Yep.
dang it, someone's got to live it, so it might as well be us.
Yep.
Yeah.
For all the pheasant hunters out there, just remind me because last year you went pheasant hunting and I was trying to figure out because pheasant meat, it's kind of you gotta know how to cook it right.
Well, it's dry.
It's
It's white
dry.
meat.
So here's what I did, folks. I made one of the best, I call it pulled the pheasant barbecue sandwiches. You take your pheasant meat, just all of it, put it in a crock pot. You go to Target or Walmart, you get a whole half a gallon or whatever, 2 pints or whatever, handful size jug of chicken broth. You pour that in there. You put it in the crock pot for about a day. You come back the next day, drain the chicken broth out, and the meat is just falls apart. It is so tender. It is so juicy. Obviously, salt and pepper, whatever seasonings you like. Put a little barbecue sauce in there. I recommend Sweet Baby Ray's or Old West style barbecue sauce, either or. And you take a blender that the woman in your life uses for bacon, or you use for bacon if you like the Great British Baking Show, like Jeremy does.
Oh, that was a shot.
You love that show.
I've only watched all 8 seasons of it. I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyways,
Shout out to my buddy Andy in Alaska that got me hooked on him and his mom got me hooked on the Great British Baking Show.
It's a good
But
program.
anyway.
Anyways, you get that mixer, handheld mixer, and you just shred up your pheasant, and it's just so good. Get yourself some King Hawaiian rolls, slice them nice and warm. Amazing.
It does sound good.
Put it on low, forget about it. Do it at like lunchtime
Well,
and come
and when
back
you
in the
say
morning.
forget about it, you mean like 8 hours.
Well, I mean,
Did you cook it overnight?
Yeah, that's what I did. I did it right,
Wow.
while we were making supper, I prepped it, put it in there, put it on low, and I just let it sit overnight. And then for lunch the next day, I took it out. Low and slow, baby. It was so soft that I could literally like it just
Oh yeah,
like
well
it
I'm
was.
sure it's falling apart.
Oh yeah, it was the most juiciest thing ever. But you gotta watch out for BBs because
Try
it's
to shoot them in the head.
yeah. I found a couple, but that's what dentists are for.
Means you win if you find BBs. You get a prize.
Yep.
You get a prize if you find the BBs.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of it.
Hello?
We're gonna try to. I think the next thing we'll do with the podcast here is we got to get some guests on.
Yep. We're working on
because
some
I got
guests.
a couple guys. Can you hear me?
You're kind of cutting in and out.
Yeah, working on some guests. I don't know why I would be.
Oh,
I shouldn't be.
there you go.
Weird.
Now you're back. We'll
Can
get
you hear
some
me now?
guests coming on soon. But yeah, everyone, get ready for bow season. Get ready to fill your freezer. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, everyone.